Hey everybody. Well, first of all, what I want to say is Daro Weilburg mentioned me in his last video, and the story he told and had my name to it isn't my story. I don't know whose story it is, but it's not mine. I wasn't molested as a kid. The story was about an 8 or 9-year-old kid. Nothing to do with me. Not my story at all. I don't know where he got it, but he has me confused with somebody. It's not my story. He should check his facts before he starts blurting things, because it just makes him look silly, because everybody that knows me knows that's not my story. So I don't know where you get that, Daro. No idea. Something else I wanted to say. 2014, May 12th, frequently asked questions. Why do Jehovah's Witnesses maintain political neutrality? It says, quote, Jehovah's Witnesses remain politically neutral for religious reasons based on what the Bible teaches. We do not lobby, vote for political parties, run for government office, or participate in any action to change governments. But guess what? Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is a current member of the OSCE. And if you don't know what that is, it's the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. It was started in 1992, and its closest partner is the UN. They talk at each other's sessions. And what it says on its site is, it is the regional arrangement in the sense of Chapter 8 of the Charter of the UN. The shared UN-OSCE agenda is this. 1. Ratification and implementation of the 12 universal anti-terrorism instruments and other initiatives to combat terrorism. Number 2. Conflict settlement and peace building. 3. Early warning and conflict prevention. Number 4. Small arms and light weapons. 5. Border management. 6. Environmental and economic aspects of security. 7. Anti-trafficking. 8. Democratization of human rights. 9. Freedom of media. Like I said, they speak at each other's summits. The OSCE operations cooperate with the UN agencies and missions. I made a video a little over a year ago. You can look back into my videos and maybe find it, about the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society being a member of the OSCE. Daro mentioned that he quoted Watchtower when he says that they changed their policies. They had to sign papers of some kind, so they dropped their NGO status and all that. Now, it has been proven, and all it takes is a phone call. See, anybody in the United States can call pretty much anywhere in the United States. It doesn't cost you extra anymore. So you can call up the UN and ask them in the early 90s if you needed to be an NGO to get a library card. And the amazing thing is that the UN will tell you, no, anybody can use the library. You don't have to be an NGO to use the library. So that kind of throws Watchtower's comment about having to be an NGO to use the library, because it's not true. and they think that nobody's going to call and ask them. But you see, there's several XJWs out here a couple of years ago that actually called the UN and asked them. And the UN said, no, anybody can use the library. You don't need to be an NGO to use the library. Well, anyway, if you look on the internet now under the OSCE membership, it will come up and you can go through it. It's a whole list of like 57 countries and organizations that are a member of the OSCE. It lists Watchtower Bible and Tract Society as an NGO of that OSCE also. Just like they were for the UN way back, well, now they are still an NGO. They just went from the United States to Europe just to make them look good. Because, see, when they did it, there wasn't an internet where you could find out where they went or what they're doing. But see, now with the internet, you can look and find out those things. You know, the OSCE, talking about, I think it was 2016, I think it was 2016 or 2017, it was a couple years ago. They were getting together talking about the peace and security. I know that rings a bell. Of different people, organizations, groups of people, whatever. And the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is lobbying each of the governments that sits at the OSCE. They're lobbying, which their website says, see, I wrote that down too, I think, here. I might have just read it to you, that it says that they do not lobby, they don't vote for political parties, run for government office, or participate in any action to change governments. But the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is lobbying. There's a video on my channel that shows how they do that. But what they're doing is they're lobbying each of the governments of these countries for protection. They're saying, well, we're banned in Russia and other countries, and we don't want to be banned anywhere else. So instead, they decided to go lobby to ask these countries for protection. So it would be even harder for those countries to turn around later and ban them, because the country already told them they would protect them. So you can't protect them and then ban them. You know, that's the way Watchtower looks at it. But it started there, and what they wanted was protection from hate crimes. They say that if you disagree with Jehovah's Witnesses and you publicly tell people that you don't agree with what Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is doing, that they can sue you for a hate crime. So pretty soon, if we don't watch it, states and cities and the whole country will be protecting an organization that really needs to be investigated. So Watchtower is setting it up. They already put those laws into effect in Utah, Salt Lake City, Utah. Already included them in a law protecting people from hate crimes, and specifically mentioned Jehovah's Witnesses and gays, and they're on a list with all those people that are hated, making it illegal to speak against them in public. So like I say, if we're not careful, pretty soon we won't be able to speak against them either. if they keep it up. And nobody's paying attention that they're still an NGO and that they're lobbying, even though they say that Jehovah's Witnesses don't lobby and they aren't politically, active. They're supposed to be politically neutral. Well, then why are they an NGO in the UN/OSCE? And why are they lobbying the governments to gain protection? Because they want to make it where no one can speak against them, where no one can say anything bad about them, or they will get sued. It's a hate crime. Can you imagine if telling people that the organization is bad and that they're covering up child sex abuse and among other things, and that if you speak up against them for doing those things, that you will be in jail for committing a hate crime? Come on, people. You got to watch where you live. Jehovah's Witnesses are taught not to be politically active, but when you leave the organization, you have to pay attention to what's going on. Or Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is going to do this right under everybody's noses, because they're not looking into the organization to find out what they're guilty of. They're just signing the paper. Yeah, okay, we'll protect you. And they're not even bothering to find out what's actually going on with them. They don't know that they're being sued. And, I can't do anything about them passing a law in Utah. All the XJWs that are in Utah need to speak up. If you're in Texas, you got to stand up. You have to be a registered voter to speak up and stop them. And Watchtower has spent your entire life telling you not to be involved in government and not to vote and not to do all this stuff. And then they're doing this behind your back. They're getting protection. So if you dare speak up against them, they're going to sue you, throw you in jail, because that's a hate crime. You're speaking against an organization and a religion. Oh my God, a religion of these nice Jehovah's Witnesses. But even the Jehovah's Witnesses don't know that the organization is lobbying the government when they are told Jehovah's Witnesses don't lobby. So if you tell them, hey, Watchtower is up there lobbying the government at the OSCE, they'll say, oh no, you're lying. But I guarantee you, anybody can do it. It takes a couple of minutes. You type in OSCE member list and enter. And when you see the list on there, you click enter on it or touch it, whatever setup you got. And scroll through the members list and see if I'm telling the truth or not. I've been there. I've seen it. I know it's there. But don't believe me. Call me a liar. But go up there and look for yourself. Members list. They are an NGO, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of the OSCE, and they are lobbying the government. They've been doing it for years. And no XJW is talking about it, because we've been taught to stay away from those political things. So Watchtower can do it behind your back, and you never know it. Because you're not a registered voter, you don't vote, you don't pay attention to what your legal and state governments are doing. But I'm telling you, you need to be involved. Because Watchtower is getting away with big, huge things right under your nose. And that last video I put up, I said, y'all gotta look. You need to look. And I'm telling you again, you need to look. Be a registered voter. So if you see something like that come up on your state or city new list of new laws, when it comes up, you can speak up and say something about it and be legal doing it, because they're not going to listen to you if you're not a registered voter. You don't matter then. But if you're a registered voter, even if you don't vote, I mean, you don't have to vote to be a registered voter, but at least your name will be on the list and they will listen to you. Voting's up to you. I don't, whether you do it or not. I didn't do it for years, but I do now. But, it's important, you guys. Watchtower and Bible and Tract Society is getting away with breaking their own doctrine and going behind their members' back and lobbying the government for protection so that you can't sue them and you can't say anything bad about them, or they will throw you in jail. That's what's going to happen. It's happening now. That's why I said a year or so ago, you need to look into it. At that time, when I made that last video, was when Salt Lake City, Utah, was passing a law to protect Jehovah's Witnesses, specifically written in the law, Jehovah's Witnesses and gays from hate crimes. Don't let them do that to you. But, hey, Daro, you're wrong. Daro, you are wrong. Number one, that story you told had nothing to do with me. It wasn't my story. I don't know where you got it. And Daro, Watchtower's doing things behind your back. And you don't even see it. You'll believe I'm lying. But all you got to do, like I said, OSCE member list. Enter. When you see it come up, click on it. Scroll through it and look for yourself while you're sipping a cup of coffee. You'll find that I'm not lying. Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is on that members list as an NGO. And they're lobbying. So you've been told. Whoever chooses to believe me or not. Now, this is the second video I made about it. What does it hurt to go look? Find out for yourself. Daryl will call me a liar, but he won't go look. Because he's afraid. He's afraid of these rules made up by men that will punish him if they know he did it. But see, Watchtower is lying to you. They tell you Jehovah's Witnesses don't lobby, but they are. Well, hopefully somebody does something. Hopefully you got to stand up for yourself. Register to vote. Even if you don't vote, at least you're able to have a say. When the time comes, you need to have a say. Don't be afraid of doing it. I did it years ago. I never got struck by lightning or anything. Sometimes I vote, sometimes I don't. Just depends. That's our choice. That's our freedom. That's a free thing that our government offers us, is a chance to speak up. So if you want to speak up, or you think you might have to one day, just get a voter registration card. You don't have to vote. Stick it in a drawer. But that way, if something does come up that matters, you'll be able to stand up and speak your mind. Talk to y'all later. Have a good rest of your weekend.